After today's verdict against the head coach of the New York Knicks and new accusations flying once again between Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill, we thought we'd take a closer look at sexual harassment. The Clarence Thomas hearings were 16 years ago, but the subject is as highly charged today as it was then. So we asked ABC's Betsy Stark to take a closer look at what has changed and what hasn't.
I do.
Thank you.
Anita Hill is not alone in thinking things have changed since she testified before that Senate panel 16 years ago, and many say the spotlight she brought to the issue is the reason they have changed.
The fact that you came forward and testified, I think showed a lot of women that were facing very similar, if not more egregious circumstances in their workplaces, that it was okay to come forward.
After her testimony, women who believed they were victims of sexual harassment were emboldened to speak out.
Anita Hill lifted the veil, made this part of the public conversation.
There was a spike in the number of sexual harassment complaints filed with the EEOC and an increase in the number of lawsuits, especially after a 1991 change to the Civil Rights Act made it easier to sue an employer for monetary damages. But there have been cultural changes as well.
I think many men's eyes were open to exactly what's happening to women in the workplace.
Employers who have become both more enlightened and more fearful of being sued or publicly embarrassed have adopted stricter policies against sexual harassment and educated employees about behaviors that are and are not acceptable. But none of this has changed the risk of coming forward with a complaint.
Yeah, a woman who brings a charge of sexual harassment risks being labeled as a whiner, as a complainer, risks being labeled as incompetent at work, and risks being fired.
Like Anita Hill, the legal experts we spoke to today say things are better, but there's a long way to go. They say there needs to be more education, more policies against sexual harassment, and better enforcement of the policies already on the books. And they say the EEOC needs more resources to help women bring legal actions. On top of everything else, Charlie, it's very expensive to bring a sexual harassment claim.
Betsy Stark with tonight's Closer Look.